Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you new here, my name is Donna, and for those of you not new, thank you so much for continuing to come back and support my channel. I appreciate every single one of you so very much for being here with me today. Today I am rolling out my 2020 project pan. I've done a project pan all but the first 6 months of my journey here on YouTube. So I did one in 2018, which was probably a miserable failure to most people, but I was super stoked about it. It was my first project pan. I did one last year that I felt really good about. There was a lot of products that I finished. There was a lot of products that I almost finished, and very few products that I didn't even touch or put in the trash can, even though I didn't get the usage out of them that I wanted to. In 2018, I did an 18 in 2018, and in 2019, I did a 19 in 2019. This year, I'm actually doing it a little bit differently. I have seen a lot of my friends do kind of a rolling project pan where they have a set amount of items that they have set in this project pan, and then once they get to where they want to be with that product, they take it out and they put another product in. Probably most famously is the rolling project pan that Beauty News did last year, and they had a real intricate spreadsheet that they used. I'm not going to do that just because I'm lazy and don't want to, even though I love spreadsheets. I did write out just a page, and my first set has 11 items in it, which I think is, many people would go, that's enough for an entire year of project pan, but some of them are really super easy. I'm gonna hit right away, and some of them maybe not so much. They might last the entire year. But I did leave enough space on this page for me to include items that I roll in as well. I am on a budget. This year, I have given myself a nice little beauty budget. I also am really just trying to use up the stuff that I have, because there are areas of my collection I dang sure don't need to be purchasing new items for. So, not that I am in this minimalism spot, because I'm definitely not. I don't see me ever being in that spot. Honestly, I just started getting into this makeup sphere a couple years ago, 3 years ago at this point. But I don't want my collection to outgrow me either, if that makes any sense. And I get to put myself on this budget that is going to be amazing for me to actually use up my product. I don't get PR, so there's that. I do get gratis. There's a pretty big event coming at work that I'll bring in a lot of gratis from, and truth be told, I'm still working through a lot of the gratis from last year, but I have a better mindset of what I want with gratis, so I can be a little bit more choosy about what I keep in my collection and then pass on the rest, which I'm really excited to have the chance to do. So with this project pan in 2020, like I said, it's a rolling project pan. I just want to get some usage out of some of my stuff, and some of them are emptying products, but you will see a lot of different products in here than I have brought into my project pans in the past. My last two project pans have been very makeup oriented. This one is going to include all ranges of everything. I think I maybe had 1 or 2 skin items in the last two project pans, maybe cumulative. And this one I'll have, other skin items floating into it. So I'm just going to run down with you what I have going on. I did take some pictures of some things on a scale that I will also put in here, because some of these things we're not going to be able to tell just by looking at them how much product is in it. So the first thing is, I believe the only thing that I'm filtering into this project pan that was part of last year's project pan, and I do believe I kind of referenced this in my finale video for 2019, but it is the Bare Minerals Faux Tan. It is a loose powder bronzer, and I've really just fallen back in love with this guy. What I will say though is that I hate the packaging of it. I'm just not a loose powder kind of person, and I have found that out over the last couple years for sure, and it's just kind of a mess. It's so empty. I did have to pull out the sifter cover because it was getting in the way of me getting the remainder of the product out of here. So I do think I weighed this, but I also held it up to the light with it open in a way that I could keep it open and hold it up to the light and find it so that I could measure it with a pen so that we could see what was going on without getting it all over the place. And this is where I sit in this product. So when it's laying on its side, the bottom line, or the bottom of the line here is where that product is currently sitting. But I do have a photo of its weight as well. My man was nice enough. He has a couple of scales laying around, so he gave me this one. I'm not sure, it doesn't measure in like fluid ounces or anything like that, and I can't measure the package and the product inside of it. So there's that piece. I'm not sure how finite that thing is, but it's going to work for the purposes that I need it to work, and I'm super excited to have it in my life. So that is product number 1. Product number 2 is this. It is the Juice Beauty Stem Cellular Anti-Wrinkle Booster Serum. I do have a couple of Juice Beauty items in my collection, and I'm not a huge fan of Juice Beauty. I almost said booty. But I do like this product. Most Juice Beauty items for me stink, and I can't get past the smell of them, so therefore can't put them on my face. But this one I do like. I have been using. I put it into this Project PM because I want to get more inclined to use a serum on my face. I have to tell you guys, I have some pretty great skin. I do love my skin. I like my skin a lot. I think it's really great for my age, but I think it could be better because my skincare routine is kind of poop. It's not horrible, but it's poop. I didn't start wearing makeup until 3 years ago. So wash your face? What? Who does that? That was my thought process the first probably year and a half that I was doing this. So until I started wearing foundation. And that was only about a year and a half ago. I just want to get more in the habit of using things like this on my face. So I do have a picture of this one weighted because there's just no way to tell how much is actually in this bottle. So we're going to use it by weight. For this one, I forgot to tell you, my goal is to use it up. I think it's an easy goal to hit. I am wearing it today. I do love it. Like I said, I have fallen back in love with it. I do think that it's an easy one to get. My goal with this one is also to use it up. So this one is going to be an easy one to do. This one's probably going to be a hard one to do. This one is a rather full item in my collection. The next one I have in here is actually a hair item, and it is the Big Sexy Hair Powder Play Light. This is a really cool powder play because usually the powder plays have, kind of like a salt shaker to it. This actually has a little like spray. Did you guys see that? This isn't my favorite though, and I don't want it to remain in my collection for very long. I do have a picture of it on the scale as well right here because, again, it's not one that I'm going to be able to tell you whether it's absolutely gone or not just looking at the bottle. So I do want it not in my life. It just makes my hair feel super gritty. Like, I can't use it very often because when I do use it, I feel like I need to wash my hair the next day, or I can't like run my fingers through it's not like any other texturizer that I have by, say, Redken or another like higher end brand. To be honest, it's not my favorite. So I want to use this up, get it out of my life, and I have used it for the last like 6 months probably. So there's still quite a bit in there, but not quite a bit. The next thing on my list is this. It is the Bare Minerals Bare Skin Pure Brightening Serum Foundation Broad Spectrum SPF 20. Longest ass name for a foundation. I really love this foundation, but it's getting on the older end. I can still use it on my face. It still looks beautiful. I am wearing it today. I love that it's got the great skincare properties in it. It's the serum foundation. I also like that it's brightening. It just makes my skin look so good. The problem with this foundation and why I fell out of using it as often, I think, is because I'm very much into using a sponge with my foundation application, and this one actually kind of requires a brush. It's just got this weird like applicator on it that you just dump it upside down, squeeze it a little bit onto a brush at like 3 drops is what they say. And I find that it really does truly only take 3 drops. Today I accidentally spilled like a bunch of it onto my brush. I think that it looks actually just as good when you use too much as it does when you use just the 3 or 4 or 6 drops that you're using. I would say I probably used too much today because a lot of it squoze out onto my brush, but it looks really good. It doesn't give me a cakey feel or appearance when I did use too much. I will also say that it's got a really nice level of coverage for me. It's probably more of a medium coverage, so some people will not like that, but I like kind of a natural finish, a more sheer finish than I do a full coverage finish. And even with putting more on than I should have, it still gives me a really nice finish, and I can't feel it on my face, and it doesn't look cakey. So there's that. I did take a picture of this one on the scale as well that I will put in here so that you guys can see it, because again, it is in a bottle, it's plastic, it's not glass, we're not going to be able to see through it or measure it in any way. And I want to finish that product because it is getting old in my collection. The next product I have in here is this. It is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powder in medium. And you guys are like, oh, you're putting a powder in here? This is going to be hard. But if you have been around my channel, you know I love this powder and it's almost gone. So this is going to be really easy for me to use up. It's one of those products that'll be rolling out very shortly. It's also a product that I already use daily. So this isn't going to be a problem for me to use, and it's not going to be a problem for me to use up. And that is the goal, is to use it up and get it out of my collection as soon as possible. The next product is kind of a weird project because it's a Franken contour. And it's a Franken contour of the 2 shades that were left over in my Kat Von D Shade and Light contour palette. I don't know if my empties has posted yet, but that palette was in my empties. I did use all but a little bit in each of the highlighting shades at the top of that, but as soon as I got these 2 contours out of there and tried to take the remainder of those highlighting shades out of that contour palette, those shades did break apart. I had to throw them away, so I couldn't use them. But I took the remainder of the 2 contour shades that I had left in that palette and made myself a Franken contour. I was consistently mixing those 2 powders together anyways. I loved them together. I thought that they provided a really pretty tone for me to use as a contour, and I don't like contour my face, but I do put it into the hollows of my cheeks, you know, underneath my chin and into my hairline up here on my forehead a little bit because I got a big old ass forehead. So this is my Franken contour. It is the Kat Von D Shade and Light. It's 2 of the shades mixed, and it's just what's left of those 2 shades. There's not very much of it left, honestly. I was super proud of my repotting ability, but I recycled one of my old bronzer containers from my empties video and stuck it into there. So that is something that I would also like to finish up this year. This one I didn't take a picture of on the scale because we're going to be able to see me meander through it as we go. And the remainder things that I want to use up are all in this, and they're not maybe use up entirely, but they are in this project pan. So the first thing is this right here. It is a single eyeshadow in the shade Cute Alert from ColourPop. You guys can see the pan in there already. I want to finish this shade up. This is a shade that I often use as a neutral in my eye looks because it is a pretty perfect tone of just like a burgundy, almost rosy tone, But you see on my skin how in the pan it looks very pink, but on my skin it performs more like a dusty rose. So I do want to use that one entirely. This next one here is also a ColourPop shadow. It is in the shade Ringer, and it is a really pretty like shimmer color. It is a shade that for the longest time I used in my brow bone. You guys can see it's just a really pretty champagne-y color, and I want to have some pan in this guy. I have quite a bit of a dip in there. But there is definitely not pan, and I definitely want there to be a decent size pan in that. Probably about the size of this guy here is what I'm looking for. And then this is Locked and Loaded, also a ColourPop shade. It is just basically a setting shade for eye primer, and that's typically what I use it for. And again, there is quite a bit of a dip in that pan, but there is not pan in it, and I would like, again, to see it have the same amount of pan as Cute Alerts does right there. And then the last two things are these right here. One of them is Winter Rose, which is a blush by Ofra. And the reason I have it in here is because I got this in an Ipsy and got it in a BoxyCharm. So I have two of these. So I would like to at least see pan in this guy, a good amount of pan in this guy. And then this is an Ofra highlight in Rodeo Drive. And the reason why I have this in here is because I have Rodeo Drive all over the place in my collection. I think it's in two meaty palettes. I have it in here, and I also have it in a bigger highlight pan. I think I got this one through Ipsy, so I would like to see this one have a decent amount of pan in it before I pull it out. And it already has quite a bit of a dip in it. I have put this little palette on top of my vanity, so it is my go-to little palette. I have used this every single day this month for setting my eye primer when I am using eye primer, so I'm really super stoked at the fact that it is just out, it's about, and it reminds me to use it. I've used this color 3 times in 3 separate eye looks. I've used this as my brow bone and inner corner shade several times. I'm wearing, or not wearing this today because I have more of an orange look on my face, but I have worn this blush more times than not in the last month, and I have worn Rodeo Drive almost every day. It is on my face today as the highlight, and it's been on my face quite often as a highlight. And just by setting this on top of my vanity, I have found that I'm reaching for these shades more often than I'm reaching for other things. All of them will sit in here, except for the things that I will place on my vanity. So these things here will be placed on top of my vanity, and they will just be my go-to things. The rest of them, so these 2 products will sit in here, right? That's all that's left. These 2 products will sit in here, and the blue bin reminds me that these are Project Pan items, and I need to use them. I have used this every single day. I did have in mind what I wanted to put into my Project Pan about 2 weeks ago, so I've been really looking at these things for the last 2 weeks, and the weights were taken 2 weeks ago. As I hit my targets on the things that I have in my Project Pan, I will take that item out and put a new item in. So if I hit pan on Rodeo Drive or this Winter Rose blush, I will take those out of my Project Pan and slide a different item in. It won't necessarily be a different highlighter or a different blush. It will just be a different product. Same with these guys, who are going to be super easy for me to finish. And then I think the ones that are going to take me the longest are that blush, that highlight, and these 3 things. This one hopefully won't take me that long. This one better not take me that long because it is, as I said, an older foundation in my collection and it's expiring. I hope that you guys enjoyed my Project Pan 2020 intro. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Let me know your feedback down in the comments section. I sure would like to hear from you. I hope that you're considering subscribing to my channel on your way out. I would love to have you along for my 2020 Project Pan, and I would love to have you along for any of my videos for that matter. Please consider giving it a big thumbs up. Please consider subscribing before you go. And until next time, bye guys.